Hi friends, this is Mallikarjun Melagiri. Welcome to my channel Technical Mallu. So we are learning how to automate the testing of a web application using Selenium Java along with Cucumber BDD Framework. In session 1, we created a Maven project and we imported all the dependencies into the pom.xml and we created the high level project structure, the framework structure, and we created the drivers folder and we created the features folder and we added the login.feature file. So let's continue to develop the framework. But before that, when I tried to execute this login.feature, I faced some issues. That was because of the pom.xml had some errors. So we imported a lot of unwanted dependencies in the previous session. So I would say these dependencies, whichever I have commented out, so these might not be needed. So whatever is active, right? So the log4j, commons lang3, Maven Cucumber reporting, JUnit, Cucumber JUnit, Cucumber Java, Selenium Java. Yeah, so these are the dependencies which we will be needing. So I will just delete these unwanted dependencies and save the form.xml. So let me delete the additional dependencies from my Word document as well. So these are the additional dependencies which we don't want. And these are the dependencies which we will be needing for our project. Okay, so now we just right click on the feature file and run as Cucumber feature. So when we run as Cucumber feature, it will give us the unimplemented methods. So here you can see this is the scenario and these are all our steps. We have 8 steps, and in that 8 step, if you see, page title should be your store.login, page title should be dashboard. So these two are same actually. So the page title should be will be the method name and these will be the parameters. So whatever we pass here in the double quotes, these all will become as parameters and the steps will become methods. So total we should be having 7 methods. So here you can see 8 steps, in that 7 methods, 7 skipped. Okay, so we got the skeleton of all these methods. We just copy these methods and then we go to the step definitions and create a new step definition file. So new, we have to create a class. So we'll name it as steps. So this is a steps class where we'll be defining all the steps. So we come inside the steps and we paste our methods. So when we paste the methods, here you see that we have to import this given and this should be when. So we have to change these things. Sometimes the given will be replaced with when will be replaced with given. So we have to carefully look into the feature file. So given user launches the browser, when user opens URL. So that is the thing. So here you can see all are when. So you have to go to the feature file and check what is the exact thing and we have to replace that. User enters email. Okay, so user enters email. So that is when. So given user launches the browser and user opens URL. Okay. So given user launches the browser and. So this should be and user opens URL. When user enters email, when user enters email and user clicks on login. And user clicks on login, then page title should be this. When user clicks on logout link, then okay. So let's see here. When user clicks on logout link, then page title should be so and so, and user closes browser. So this should be and. Okay. So now let's import all the classes. So the import should be from io.cucumber.java.in. So now we have imported all the classes and this will give by default some implementation. So we have to delete that and we have to write our own implementations inside these. So right now we will keep them empty. And parallelly, we have to create the page object class for the login page. So only then we can create an object of that class, and then we can do some actions on that object. And also here you can see that we are importing the classes and given when then from the same package. It's io.cucumber.java.en. So when we are using the same package, right? So we don't need to write multiple lines. We can just instead of and we can put a star here. So all the classes will be imported just by this one line. Okay. So now go into the page objects package, create a new class, name it as login page. So now it has created a empty class structure. So now I have copied the code for the class and I have pasted it here. So let me delete these redundant lines. Okay. So now I have to import all these classes so that there are no errors. So now you can see that this WebDriver, page factory, this all are being imported from the Selenium jar files. These are all the Selenium classes. WebDriver, web element, these all are the Selenium classes. So whatever we put in the dependency, right, Selenium Java, so that will be having all these classes. So we are importing from there. So here you can see that all the required classes have been imported and we don't have any errors now. So let me explain this class. So we have a login page class. Inside the login page, we created a protected driver object. So we create it as a protected object because we want this object to be used in the inheritance. Like this object can be used by the subclasses of this class. And then we have a login page constructor. So in the constructor, we are passing the driver object, and this driver object will be passed from the step definitions class or from somewhere outside of this class actually. So this is a remote driver, and this remote driver object we are assigning it to our local driver object which we created here. So this is our local driver object. So for that we are assigning this, and we have a page factory which will initialize the elements. So we pass the driver object, and this will be initiating all the elements, so that we'll be able to create all these web elements. Okay, after that we have a condition where we will check whether we are on the required page or not. So now we should be on the login page. If we are not on the login page, then we should throw this illegal state exception, login page was not launched. So if some other page was launched, then that is an error. So we'll throw this error and we'll come out of this execution. Okay, so here we are finding out the elements, find all the elements on the login page. So here we are finding the text email, that is email text, the password text, the login button and the logout button. So these are all the elements on the page we are finding, and we are keeping these elements as private. Okay, so because the data has to be private and it should be accessible only through the methods defined in that class, right? So now that we have found out all the elements on the page, we need some methods to act on these elements, right? So we are writing the methods here. So to enter the username, I have created a method called enter username, where we'll be passing a string username, because in the login feature you saw that user enters email as this, right? So this is a parameter. So this parameter we are passing from here, and the same thing will be coming here actually. So username, and that will be set here. Okay, so we are using that text email. So email text object which we identified here, that same thing we are using here dot send keys, and we are passing the username. And similarly, we are doing a enter password method. There we are passing the password, and then we are trying to click on the login button, and then we are click on the logout link. So these four methods we have identified. So now that we have created the page object class for the login page, so we'll go into the steps.java, and we'll create a driver object, and then we create a login page object. So we have to import these classes. So WebDriver is anyway we require it. And login page, we already created the login page. That object we are creating here. We import that class and we are creating a object. I mean, we are just creating the variable here. We have not yet initialized the object. So we'll initialize it wherever it is required. So now the first method, user launches the browser. So for that, first we have to do system.setProperty. So why do we need this? Because we have to identify the browser driver, the Chrome driver, right? Driver, Chrome driver. So here we have to say where is that Chrome driver located. So we have placed that in the browser drivers, right? So for that we use system.get property. So here we use the user directory. So it will give the current directory, and inside the current directory, where is my Chrome driver.exe? It's inside slash source test resources. Inside that I have Chrome driver.exe. Okay, so then we have to initialize this driver object. Driver equal to new Chrome driver of, and we have to import this Chrome driver class. Okay, so if we were using Internet Explorer, then we will be having driver equal to new IE driver, or else if you want to use the Microsoft Edge browser, then driver equal to new Edge driver. Like that we have to initialize whatever browser we want to use. Now we want to launch the Chrome browser, that's why we are using driver equal to new Chrome driver of. So this will launch the Chrome browser. Okay, then user opens URL. So instead of the string parameter, we'll name it as URL. We'll give a meaningful name. For that, what we do, driver dot get of URL. So this will open the URL. Okay, and the next method is user enters email as string and password as string. So two string parameters. So the first one is email. We give the email and we give the password. Right. So that we have to implement here. So we have the login page object, and that dot enter username and enter password we have, right? So enter username, email, and again login page dot enter password, password. So these are the two methods. Then we have user clicks on login button. So for that we have login page dot click login. This is a method which we defined. So we are done with this method also. So now we want to verify the page title. So here we have to, instead of giving the string, we have to give it as title, a meaningful name. And then here I have copied some code. I am going to paste it here. So here we have to import this assert from org.junit. So if we have to properly import it, otherwise it will give some errors. So okay, so here you can see that we are validating the title is correct or not. So title we are passing from the login features, right? So here we are passing the title. Title should be so and so for this page, and for some other page, title should be so and so. Like that we are passing as a parameter. So that thing we want to validate here. Whatever is passed as title, is it equal to the current title, page title? So driver.get title will give the current page title, and we are comparing with that. If it is correct, then we'll say true. So we'll say JUnit assertion will assert it as true. Otherwise, we'll print out that actual title, whatever title we are getting, and we'll say assert false. So this will fail the test case. Okay, next we have user clicks on logout link. So we'll go to login page dot click logout. That is done. Okay. Then we have user closes browser. Then here we just do driver dot or driver dot close. So any one of this, and we can save this. Okay, and we see some errors. Here you can see that it is showing some error. Let me see. Okay, I think. Okay, it should be fine. And one more thing I think I forgot. I forgot to initiate or instantiate this login page object. So driver equal to new Chrome driver. I have instantiated the driver object, but here I am using the login page, right? So I think I will initiate here login page equal to new. We can enter control space to give the auto suggestions. Okay, so I think now we are completely done with this steps.java for this login page implementation. So now we have the feature file. We have all the high level steps defined here. Actual step definitions will be done in the steps.java in the step definition file. And we also implemented the page object model for the login page. So now we have to go to the test runners and create a new class called test runner so that we can specify the execution parameters here. So this class should be an empty class, and we should have a annotation at run with cucumber.class. And we have one more annotation at cucumber options. So here we have to specify some options. So I have copied some lines. I'm going to paste here. So these are the options which we are going to provide in the Cucumber options. Let me import this also. Okay. So features will specify where is our feature file. So we can specify the features folder so that all the features under this folder will be executed. Or if you want to execute any specific feature, then we provide the exact name of that. So right now we want to execute the login.feature. So I specified login.feature, and glue means the step definitions. Where are my step definitions? So right now we are in the project folder itself. So I just specify the step definitions, the package name. Okay, so whatever is there inside that, everything will be executed. And right now we just have only one step definition file, but actually we can have multiple step definition files. So in that case, we can provide the package name to execute all the step definition files under that package, or we can provide the specific step definition file .java file. So only that will be executed and others will be ignored. So even that we can do. Okay, so dry run false means it will do the execution and it will launch the Chrome browser and it will do the complete execution. But if we say dry run equal to true, it will just do a dry run. It will not launch the actual browser. So whenever you create a new feature file and you want to implement the step definitions for those new steps, that time you make dry run equal to true and execute this. That time you will get the skeleton of all those new steps inside the new feature file, and that you can copy and paste into your step definition file, and there you can enhance and you can develop the code for that step definitions. So that is the purpose of dry run. And monochrome equal to true. When you run the execute this, you will get the output, right? So output will be jumbled or it will be having some junk characters. To get rid of that junk characters, we keep as monochrome equal to true. So you can try with both true as well as false, and you can see the difference in the console. So it's good to keep it as true. And plugin equal to pretty. So guys, I have made some changes in this line. So we are using Cucumber Java 7.1.0 and Cucumber JUnit 7.1.0, right? So before version 6 of Cucumber Java and Cucumber JUnit, we used to specify a single folder. Under target, we'll get a Cucumber reports like that. We'll get one folder, and inside the folder, we'll be having multiple files. and one of the file will be index.html. When we double click on index.html, we'll be able to open the HTML report. But from the version 6 onwards, we cannot specify like that. We have to specify the HTML file. So if you just specify as Cucumber reports, it will just create only one file under the target and we'll not be able to open that. So only if we specify as .html, we'll be able to open that file and we'll be able to view the report. So that change I have made. And I have also added the JSON report, cucumber.json also. So it will generate a JSON report also. Once we save this and right click on this and run as JUnit test. So we are getting some error. So it's good that we should get some errors so that we can learn from the mistakes. So here it's saying the driver executable must exist. Users, Mallikarjun Meligiri, Eclipse Workspace 1, nopCommerce V1, source test resources, Chrome driver.exe. Okay, so we have given the path wrongly in our steps.java. So I think after resources, we should be having a browser drivers. So if you go to the Explorer, so after the inside the source test resources, we have browser drivers folder. Inside that we have our .exe files. So we have missed that. Browser drivers / Chrome driver.exe. Save this file, go to TestRunner.java, right click and run as JUnit. So this time it should work. Yes, it has launched the Chrome browser. Yeah, it is entering all the details, logged in, and now it is clicking on logout and closing the browser. So now everything is green. So here you are able to see the JUnit report. If you click on this, okay, so if you click on this, you are able to see the login scenario, login with valid credentials, and it has passed. So here you can go to the package explorer and right click and refresh. So now you can see that inside the target folder, you have a cucumber reports.html file. Double click on that and you'll be able to open it as a HTML report. So here you're able to see feature login, scenario login with valid credentials, and all the steps have been passed. All the steps are green. Also, you can open the JSON report, which is just a JSON file. That's all in this session, guys. So in the further sessions, we will try to add more features like creating a new customer to the system and searching the customers with the email ID or with first name and last name. And we'll try to add the tags and we'll try to add a configuration file. So we'll see these in the further sessions. Thank you.